What it do, man? It's your boy back with it, and I wanted to do a recap of the Friendsgiving that I did over the weekend. And first off, I want to say, I can't say it enough, that I'm super grateful and blessed that I was able to share something that I enjoy a lot with other people. And even on a bigger scale, like that was probably the biggest event that I did. For people where they had to be like in one setting, like sitting down, had to grab your plate and then try different foods, and also where you had to make enough for it could feed everyone. So for me, that was dope. I really enjoyed it. The prep did take a good amount of time, but the thing is, when you're working through different pieces of your life, like you're going to realize what you need, for the next time and what you need moving forward. But it's all about the process in the moment. Like, what can I do to make sure that I'm being efficient here? And what can I do to make sure that I'm giving myself the grace to learn? Like sometimes we get so focused on the now and then in the final product because people also put that pressure on us. But for individuals that are being creative and trying to work through that, it's important that we give ourselves the grace to know that, you know what, it's going to be okay. Like, I'm giving myself the opportunity to try this out. I'm giving myself the opportunity to be okay with how it turns out. But the best thing is that I have to make sure that I'm doing all the things that I can to make sure I'm giving it 100%. And so when it came to the Friendsgiving, I would say it probably took about like 7 to 8 hours of prep. And the reason it took that long is because going to the store, having to go back, multiple times actually to make sure I didn't forget anything, just making sure that I could knock out all the pieces that I wanted to at home because I'd be cooking in a different area. Also making sure that I had like my clothes and things set out. And this is new for me. Like, I'm a person where when it comes to like my apartment and just being organized, like I'm a very clean person, but when it comes to having things in different places as far as organization or writing things down, like tasks that I need to get done, I have not been the best at that. And so my challenge for myself this year was to get a whole lot better with it, which I have. And that was, for myself, it was an eye-opening thing and something that I was very proud of myself for because it just wasn't common for me. But you realize that you have to be able to find organization in different parts of your life because if not, you'll be scatterbrained, and especially when you're working with other people, you kind of put them in an awkward position. So, the reason why it took that long is because of all the different pieces that I was trying to think about when coming up with the menus and all that. So now that I know moving forward that if I have, an event that I'm doing, I don't have to take it that long to be able to complete it. And so that also goes into when you're thinking about, just different things that you're doing. Like, it's a process to where you're learning in the moment. So allow yourself to do that. Other people, outside noise, they may not give you as much grace or whatever, but that doesn't matter. You're focused on yourself. Like, you're focused on knowing what your end goal is. You're focused on knowing what you're trying to get to. Everybody else ain't going to be able to see that. So the ones that are in the process with you, they will be the ones that are going to give you that grace because they know that it's a stepping ladder too. They know that this isn't the end result, so you just got to work through it. So anyways, the day before, I ended up prepping my mashed potatoes, mac and cheese, the noodles. I brined my turkey, ended up preparing the chicken, and I did probably 95% of my desserts. And so my thought process the day before was, you know what? Let me just give this a shot and make most of the stuff vegan because I knew we had like some dietary restrictions in there. So I said, let me do like half and half. Like, let me, at least for the desserts, let me make them vegan friendly where they'll still taste good, where people that aren't vegan still like feel as if it's fire to them too. And let me just make sure that people have options because I know sometimes at events, like people that are vegan don't really have options. And so the biggest thing I'm proud of myself for is being consistent over this year and a half because what I've realized is when you're consistent and you're putting in effort each time, like when we think about YouTube, when we think about videos that people create, like they tell you to be consistent, but when you're constantly chipping at it each time and you're allowing yourself room to mess up, but then also add in different layers each time, That's what makes it beautiful. Not that you're saying, hey, I'm gonna put out a video each week, a few times a day or whatever, but when you're constantly adding things to it, you're letting your creative mind flow and you're giving yourself the opportunity to make changes. That's where it makes it more beautiful, because like I said, you never know how much one thing can play off of another. When I was making the sweet potato casserole, even when I did it last week in the mashup, and I did that for the first time, like, I just realized that over time, as I've cooked sweet potatoes, I can use the same method, but then just add something different each time to get that different type of recipe or whatever. Like, once you know how to mash up sweet potatoes, then as far as doing a sweet potato casserole, as far as doing a sweet potato honey bun cake, as far as doing a sweet potato pie, they all just work together. And a lot of times when we're thinking about so many different aspects of our life, it's just the way in which people talk about it, but we don't realize how much that these can play together. So this also comes with challenging yourself. So I told myself, I said, DeMarcus, you ain't never made a sweet potato pie before. You ain't even made a turkey since probably back in college, like one time. But when you're consistent in chipping away at it each week, each day, or whatever, each month, you're going to build up that muscle memory to where you can use a lot of the same ingredients, you can use a lot of the same processes and make it happen. So I said, you know what? This has been the year I've been the most confident, the most I've been happy about my cooking. Like, I'm just in the zone to where it's like, because I just know, because I'm taking those steps where if I can make something, I can make something happen if I want to. And if it doesn't work out, like, I know that after a few tries, I'm gonna get back to it. So I said, but we about to make this happen for the people. And so when I was thinking of the sweet potato pie, I said, how am I gonna get this done? But I already had a lot of sweet potatoes left. So whenever I did the sweet potato honey bun cake and I did the sweet potato casserole, I had a lot of sweet potatoes left. So I said, I'm not just gonna let these go to waste. Like, what can I do with it? And I knew that I was kind of I would be pressed on time in the morning. So I said, but I gotta figure something out. Like, I can't just let these go to waste. I ain't just about to go to the store and just buy a sweet potato pie. Just even though you need one for Thanksgiving, but I got to figure out something with this. So what I did was, I said, I'm gonna challenge myself. So the next morning, I'm gonna come back to the prep from the day before. The next morning, I went to the store. I went and got a pie crust, and I said, you know what? I got the sweet potatoes at home. Let's make it happen. As I was going through different recipes, different processes, I said, I can literally do it the similar way in which I'm doing the sweet potato casserole. And so what did I do? I did it in a similar process, and that's what made the sweet potato pie. And the beautiful part about it was some of the layers in which I used for the vegan pieces for the honey bun cakes and the yellow cake with caramel icing, I used for the sweet potato pie. And so it ended up working out, and people loved it, right? And that was probably one dessert people went through compared to the other ones. But that's what I say when you just continue just to allow yourself space to try things, but then also take a step back and realize how much that what you're already doing can play off of another thing. So going back to the turkey and the chicken, went ahead and knocked those out, knocked the chicken out, had all that seasoned, had to make sure everything was kind of damp so the seasoning could flow into the chicken. For the turkey brine, I was like, this is the first time I'm gonna do a brine, but I'm gonna make it happen. You need a turkey on Thanksgiving. Got my brine together, let the seasoning soak up in there. The brine came out nice. I had a infused bag. I put the turkey in there. I let the brine go into the bag, and then I let that sit in the refrigerator and do its thing. So I was like, okay, we in the zone. For the noodles, I ended up getting those cooked fully. I ended up putting a little bit of olive oil on it so they didn't stick, and we're good there. So at this point, I got everything prepped. I got all my desserts knocked out. The only thing I got to do the next day for the desserts is to add the icing. And the thing that I've realized for the desserts is a lot of times they taste the best when you let them sit, because all them juices are flowing, and maybe that's just an old school Southern type of way, but it came out good. So next day we wake up, had all my clothes and everything prepped from the day before. At this point, I'm in a zone because DeMarcus is usually scrambling for things last minute, but today we getting it together. It took probably like a 4 or 5 hour, I guess you could say power nap, but rest or whatever. And I was good. Took me a cold shower, get my energy flowing, and I was up early. So I had to go to the UPS store to print off the menus we had to get the stuff for get the crust for the sweet potato pie. And then I also wanted to show love to the lady that I was, doing that's helping me do the Friendsgiving, and I made like a small, like red velvet cake with cream cheese icing. So I knew that I'd have enough time to knock all that out and be prepared. So as I finish everything, now it's time to go to, the area that I'm going to do the Friendsgiving. And so I put everything in my bag, so I have like a catering bag, right? And so for that bag, it holds a lot. And so the good thing is I've been consistent with my workouts, and I'm a strong guy, because I'm telling you, that bag was heavy. Plus I had like 2 or 3 other bags. I had 2 boxes I had to carry, so it was a lot. So as I'm going down the elevator, the water from the potatoes ends up spilling. So I had to put water in the potato pan, because you don't want there to be too much air in the potatoes. They'll start turning gray, and then they'll end up, rotting out. So I had to make sure I kept some water in there, because you can't leave it without it for too long. Going to the elevator, man, water starts spilling out of my bag. I said, man, here we go. Like, this is about to be something kind of crazy. So I'm hoping when I get off the elevator that it might just be like a little spill. So as soon as I get off the elevator, it's not too bad of a spill, but I'm like, man, hopefully this don't turn out crazy. So the Uber gets there, ends up put everything into the Uber's the back of the truck, and so okay, we're gonna be good tomorrow. It's gonna be smooth. I'm sitting in the back seat. Probably takes me about like 30-35 minutes to get to my destination, and then next thing I know, like as I'm looking back as he's driving, I see like some water creeping out. So I said, damn, this about to be crazy. This dude about to have hella water in here. I'm about to get a charge, like, because especially if you have where you mess up the Uber or whatever, they can charge you. But as we got to the destination, it was all good. So got out of the Uber, and then there was like a little bit of water that ended up seeping down. He was like, man, you good? Like, it's my last ride for the day. I ain't even tripping it off. So I said, my dog. So my friend, she ended up bringing out the trolley. We took the trolley. That was super clutch, because everything that I had, it would have been crazy trying to just take that by myself. So we took the trolley upstairs, got to our apartment, and at this point, like, the runner show that we had, we right on time. So I knew as soon as I got to our apartment that the first thing I needed to knock out was the turkey. The reason being is because for the turkey, that's going to take the longest, and you want to make sure that takes time to cook through, because if you all know, for a turkey, if it's not cooking through on all layers, you're done. Like, because the turkey is going to be the main thing that people want, even though people probably, I won't say the main thing people want. I think it's because of Thanksgiving, like, people know turkey, but I feel like people probably eat like chicken and stuff more, or maybe even something that's just like something else that may be like non-red meat, because turkey with white meat, some people like it. It's a thing that you eat like maybe for one day, but over time, unless it's like the turkey wing part, most people ain't really eating turkey continuously. But anyways, make sure I had my butter. I used a little bit of vegan butter. I also used some olive oil, had my seasons on there, and that was what am I trying to say? That was like an eye-opening thing for me, because I'm like, now I'm at a point to where I'm about to go ahead and put this turkey in the oven. I ain't did it for, like I said, but that one time, but I'm confident. Put the turkey in the oven, had that boy seasoned up, and I'm talking about as it's cooking, as the process is going, I'm like, man, this looks smooth. Like, I'm feeling myself. I'm like, this is good. Like, but I'm in my zone. Like, I'm locked in. I have everything separated out. I know what needs to get done. So I'm taking I think it's called the bashing tool, whatever. I'm using that. I don't have that with me, so I had to use a brush to be able to, as the juices are flowing, I'm trying to put that back onto the turkey to keep it moist, because especially the breast area, that's going to be one where, like, you have to make sure that it continues to stay tender, because they can get dry the most. So also too, I haven't used the thermometer really for any of my foods. For real, I just pretty much play it by ear. So I'm like, but I need to make sure I'm in my bag. So I had a thermometer that I probably ain't even touched or took out of the package at all. Take that mug out the package. I'm like, hopefully it works. Took the little needle thing, boom, it turns on. So I'm checking the temperature. I'm making sure that the temperature on the breast area, that's 175, because that's the temperature that you need to have for a good turkey. I'm going through it. I'm in my zone. I'm recording my videos. I'm talking mess, because, my dad and my brother, they be getting the turkeys right. But, younger brother got to come in and show what he's about. So I'm recording my videos, getting my content. Everything's flowing good. About 3.5 hours passes by, 3:45. Man, that turkey's done. I mean, I'm feeling myself. It's good. Like the turkey is right. Like this, it's got brown on the top, as y'all maybe seen in some of the videos. It's just like it's flowing so smooth, and I'm like, man, this turkey actually like it looks good. I had my friend try it. She's like, the Marcus is really good. Like the flavor and everything was on point. So I'm like, we good. So after I finished the turkey, I had to make sure I put aluminum foil on it because you want to make sure that you're keeping it